I'm Diana, and today I'm going to be talking about the N-word. So a video recorded by Karlie Kloss showing backstage footage of Victoria's Secret model singing along to Cardi B's Bodak Yellow has reignited the long contentious issue of who gets to say the N-word. Now in this video I've broken it down into 5 reasons why I personally think that white people and people who aren't of African descent can't say the N-word. It's important for me to address first of all that I can't stop anyone from saying or not saying anything. All I can do is let you know what I think and the reasons I have for thinking the way I do, and hopefully we can have a discussion about it. First reason is context. Ta-Nehisi Coates put it quite eloquently. He believes that words don't have meaning without context. What he means by this is that there are certain words that are acceptable to be used at certain times in certain situations and unacceptable to be used in others. While it might be okay for his wife to call him honey, it's not okay for him to go out on the street and call some random woman honey. Just as it's inappropriate to use those words at work with customers, clients, and colleagues. It's all about context. He takes this a little further. He says that while his wife and his friends use the word bitch, he says that he doesn't join in, and I'm gonna quote him here.
I do not join in. I don't, say, hey, I don't do that. I don't do that. And perhaps more importantly, I don't have a desire to do it.
And I think he says a really important word there, desire. One of the biggest gripes I have against white people that want to use the N-word is, why do you even want to use it in the first place? Surely knowing the cultural context, the history of oppression that word carries, you wouldn't want to participate. Reason number 2, history. Look, I get it. Censoring yourself is annoying. I mean, you should be afforded the liberty to use the English language to its full extent, right? Well, white people used to be able to say the N-word, and there's a pretty good reason why they don't get to say it anymore. I think the best way to learn about why things are the way they are today is to look at history. For 600 years, Europeans used to buy and sell black Africans like Pokemon cards. But making a slave, especially an obedient slave, wasn't as simple as just capturing a free person and shipping them over to America. You had to strip them of their humanity. This was done using unimaginable violence, with torture, with murder, with rape and public humiliation. But perhaps one of the most important and the most significant and impactful tools were the psychological ones. Making a slave was down to a science. In fact, they had a slave handbook by Willie Lynch, which was a brutal guide on how to break the enslaved African. On top of regular acts of violence, to make a slave, they took away language, they took away their names, they took away their culture, they took away their history, and they took away their humanity. Even today, there are tons of African Americans walking around with their slave master's name. So in order to justify and ensure that this violent system of oppression continued to be successful and continue to flourish, they had to maintain that these people weren't people at all. And you know how they did that? They used the N-word. So alongside every beating, alongside every lash, alongside every rape, alongside every lynching, alongside every public humiliation was the N-word. So when you say the N-word today, you're echoing all the people that ever said that word and used it to dehumanize a black person. Asking why white people can't say the N-word, I think is indicative of having lived a life knowing that when you speak, you're going to be heard. That having the assurance of knowing that your voice will always be listened to and recognized. And I get it. I think that if I lived in a world that constantly told me that everything was mine for the taking and the world owes me something, then maybe I would feel entitled to use racial slurs as well. But Maybe because of this little thing called privilege, some people might have a bit of a complex about being told that certain things are off limits to them. Reason number 4, culture. Let's be clear, originally hip-hop was born at a time where black people, especially black men, felt like they didn't have a voice, and it became a platform for them to be able to talk about their experiences surrounding racism, poverty, and oppression. It was conscious. It was a space where black people could feel they had a voice and to talk to other people who had and were going through the same things as them. I think that sometimes white people can use hip-hop and the N-word to buy into an idea of perceived blackness, you know, the idea of blackness that the media and mainstream culture perpetuates. And by using these words and participating in that culture, they're hoping to get like a little taste of the social capital that hip-hop culture and black culture can give people. But the only problem is they do this without having any real regard for the real stories and experiences of marginalized and oppressed groups that the music is born from. So Eminem is one of the most successful and the best rappers in the game. Like, white people will tell you this, black people will tell you this. And he's managed to go his whole career without saying the N-word once, because he knows, first off, that that word is not for him. And he knows that the second he says that word, he's going to lose all his credibility and he's going to lose all his respect. Reason number 5, safety. So black people suffer from a mixture of overt and covert racism on a near daily basis. And while you might not mean any malice or ill intent when you say that word, I know what it's like for somebody to say that word to me and mean it, and it's not nice. You don't know all the time somebody's said that to a person. You don't know what that person's been through that day, and the time that you say the N-word or they hear you say the N-word could be the proverbial straw that breaks the camel's back and could earn you a beat down. So while I don't really have that much in the way of strength, of pretty skinny arms and no upper body strength, there are plenty of black people that do have a bit of strength and will be really happy to put you in a hospital bed for saying that word. So if nothing else, don't say the N-word for your own safety. So those were 5 reasons why I think that white people and other people who aren't black or of African descent can't use the N-word. Let me know what you thought, let me know if you got any gripes, let me know if you disagree, and put it all in the comment section. Thanks for listening.